face to face again. Thanks to God, we contained coronavirus, which affected the whole world. As the pandemic started to lose its effect, the normalization process has been initiated as well. As long as the normalization process goes without any unexpected result, we will continue to normalize even further. Based on the developments after the Eid al-Fitr, we will take our decisions whether we will open the gathering places. Turkey has been appreciated a lot with thanks to its exemplary activities in the fight against the coronavirus. We never deprived any of our citizens from access to healthcare services. And at the same time, we didn't have any disruptions or lack of medical equipments in our healthcare facilities. None of the tragic events that took place in other countries have taken place in Turkey. Our ministry and many of our institutions and facilities actually undersigned historical records in terms of the management of the coronavirus. And at the same time, we can say that we managed this pandemic, this outbreak, successfully in terms of economy, in terms of culture and healthcare services. In order to support our economy, we have developed many support packages. And I also would like to add that as the Republic of Turkey, we performed even well with comparison to developed countries in the face of coronavirus. As I underlined many times, the economy should continue in accordance with the new normal standards. I can summarize this new normal as wearing masks and obeying to the social distancing. Of course, it will not be enough to overcome this pandemic only inside of Turkey, but the pandemic should be ineffective not only in Turkey, in our near abroad and all around the globe. Until that day, we will stay alert because we know that even the slightest ignorance can revive the pandemic. Such kind of a revival can bring about unwanted, undesired social and economic repercussions, and I do believe the examples of the last 2 months have already proven that. I once again would like to request from you to follow whether the rules are obeyed in terms of wearing masks and social distancing. Whenever you see any violations, please correspond that situation with the relevant stakeholders so that the necessary precautions can be taken. I do believe that we are committed to show the same level of sensitivity that we have shown up until now with regards to the coronavirus. I am certain that we will receive the results of the sacrifices that we have shown so far. My dear brothers, just like any troubles, the outbreak is another exam for us. And in order to overcome and be successful in this exam, we are mobilizing all of our resources and we work day and night. As we are creating solutions differently for different parts of our society, we are trying to release the burden on our citizens. Up until now, we have provided support by 1,000 Turkish liras to 5.5 million of our citizens from the low socioeconomic background. And we have shown that we are supporting them. We have given support to our tradesmen, to our industrialists, and to our farmers so that they have a chance to see what comes next in the future. Everyone who is not blindly against us can see what we are doing, and they are appreciating what we do so far. On the other hand, there are the ones who are trying to be setback and barriers to our nation, and they, and I would like to state the CHP, the Republicans People Party, who is only trying to destroy the values and the welfare of our society, of our nation. As nation, we are in need of brotherhood, unity and solidarity. In those times, unfortunately, each actor of the CHP, the Republicans People Party, is trying to create unrest and instigation. The ones who are trying to penetrate into the mosques in order to correspond to the society as they are conveying their treacherous messages, the CHP party is applauding it. During the 15th of July coup attempt, as the imams of our mosques were actually calling for solidarity, these unhealthy minds were criticizing us because they were really hoping to hear a different sound, a different sentence to be conveyed from the mosques. You should know that each one of our citizens, before they lose their last blood, they will not reach to their targets. As it is stated in our national anthem, the ultimate target of our nation is to prevent any foreign hands to be laid on our soil. And this is the understanding that we have, and hopefully this will be the understanding in the future. We are strengthening our healthcare infrastructure, which has been appreciated by anyone, but unfortunately, as we are strengthening our health infrastructure, some people have problems in terms of embracing our strong healthcare infrastructure. And they are throwing mud at our hospitals. Behind the criticism of our operations in Syria and Libya, we know that they are anxious that our country is prospering. So, I would like to say that we will bother them even more for the sake of our nation and our society. The ones who are attacking us by barking and sparkling, their ultimate target is becoming much more clearer every passing day, because we realize that they only dream bad things for our country. In order to cover what they have stolen so far, we know that they are trying to abuse the common values of our nation, of our society. Of course, we are not concerned with their politics, because the relevant bodies, the judiciary system, will follow those violations. At the same time, we will try our best to realize our projects for the sake of our society and nation. And as the representatives of the political party in power, you will follow what is going on and convey and correspond to us what is missing, what are the gaps. In this century, I would like to say that Turkey actually went beyond this contemporary era, and we know that Turkey will accomplish its 2023 targets. You know how sad I am in terms of giving answers to the deliriums of the Republican People Party. Although I am sad, I would like to mention to the implications of economic crisis. Well, crisis is not a new term for Turkey. Yes, I would like to admit that during the time of the Republican People Party in power, the Turkish nation actually couldn't find bread to distribute to its people. That's why the ration card system has been implemented, and the responsible for the usage of the ration card was Republican People Party. Unfortunately, we had such crisis in the past, but who was the responsible party? It was the CHP, the Republican People Party. Unfortunately, in the past, this fascist ideology and mind who carry out the elections with the open vote but secret counting. And the responsible party behind that was Republican People Party again. Unfortunately, Turkey has been deprived of many basic needs, from bread to gas. And in the past, the patients couldn't find devices for diagnosis, doctors and medications for treatment. We had such crisis, but who was responsible behind all these? First and foremost, Mr. Kemal and Republican People Party. In the past, unfortunately, the Republic of Turkey and its citizens couldn't send their daughters and sons to the universities, and the daughters, since they were wearing headscarf, were not accepted to the universities. We had such kind of crisis and difficulties in the past due to such mentality, and the one behind all those was Republican People Party. These examples are countless. The Republican People Party, who was responsible for many crises, do not have the right to criticize our Justice and Development Party, and as they did, there was a sad smile on our faces. They try to show that economic crisis is unique to our country, but unfortunately, they try to twist the reality. On the other hand, as 5.5 billion people stayed in their homes globally, 2.7 billion people stopped going to their workplaces. As the pandemic started, you should also have realized that the CHP, the Republican People Party, were quite enthusiastic because they thought that all the factories in Turkey will be closed and the economy will collapse and people will rebel against the political party in power, so that the government will collapse and will lose its authority, so that they can regain the authority, and they have this enthusiasm that they can actually benefit from this crisis. Of course, at the end of the day, they were disappointed, thanks to the help of God and the support of our nation. And thanks to the help of God and the support of our nation, we are overcoming this pandemic with the least damage possible. And we are, by the way, open to any recommendations and any offer which will be deemed beneficial for our nation, our society. But unfortunately, the offers and the recommendations of the Republican People Party will not serve for the good of our people. Rather than following a constructive politics, unfortunately, they opted for the destructive politics. Other than reversing the development path of the Republic of Turkey, they didn't offer anything beneficial and fruitful. As you can remember, we tried to improve the reputation and the value of the Turkish lira, the currency, by erasing 6 zeros from it, they were against it. As we said that during the 2008 economic crisis, the economic crisis will be tangential to the Turkish economy and they were attacking us. As we reduced the inflation rate to the single digits, rather than appreciating us, they continue to criticize us. My dear brothers, as the interest rates were on double digits, we reduced it to the single digits, but all the same, they were still criticizing us and dancing in joy. Although we created job opportunities for almost 1 million people, they were still criticizing us as we increased our export volume from $36 billion to $180 billion, they were still criticizing us in front of the public. As we increased the number of tourists from 16 million to 51 million, and at the same time increasing the profits from $12 billion to $35 billion, they didn't appreciate us. As we came to power, the central bank reserves were $27.5 billion. And during my term as the Prime Minister, we increased this amount to $135 billion. But unfortunately, we still couldn't hear any words of appreciation from the workers to the pensioners. Although we increased their income on real terms remarkably, unfortunately, we couldn't get rid of their criticism. During my term as the Prime Minister, some of our bureaucrats who worked for us started to embrace the same discourse of the opposition party, and I'm quite sad because the basis of the politics is all about honesty. I mean, the ones who served as prime ministers or ministers during my term is attacking Turkey from a different perspective, from a different methodology. I mean, at the end of the day, you are a minister. So do you think that you can take a step without the approval of the prime minister? I mean, how on earth they can claim that they were the ones who were responsible for such success? I mean, can you imagine that a minister can take a step without the approval of a prime minister? Nobody will buy it. I mean, it's not possible for you to receive results on YouTube channels through such propagandas. We, at the end of the day, are seeking for the ones who will appreciate what we do, because the ones who are trying to destroy Turkey, the nation will give them the necessary answer. Because the consciousness of our nation will definitely not enable them to succeed, because we will never go away from the responsibilities as we have taken the responsibilities all the time. When we take a closer look to the items that the Republican People's Party defined as the solution recipes, we see that they are actually defining themselves as the only savior. For example, they say waste. I mean, don't you take a look to your municipalities, disgraceful municipalities? They are criticizing our new hospitals. Everybody is appreciating our system. In the G20 meetings, for example, people asked us to express public-private partnership system. In G20 meeting, which took place in Antalya, I expressed them the A PPP model. Unfortunately, Mr. Kemal and his followers cannot understand the PPP model because their capacity will not be enough. And CHP, the Republican People's Party, is against the public-private partnership. Well, I mean, imagine this person was the head of the social security system in Turkey. Do you remember how was our situation as he was the general director of the social security system? We couldn't find medications or any medical devices. I mean, the patients were suffering in queues in the hospitals. Please remember the news program of Savaş Ay, the deceased newspaper. I mean, this person was not able to give answers to the questions of this journalist. Ok Meydanı Hospital, where this news was shot, received the name of Cemil Taşçıoğlu, who unfortunately lost his life during the fight against the coronavirus. And we have restored this hospital from scratch, and as Cemil Taşçıoğlu Ok Meydanı Hospital, this hospital gives service to its citizens. Mr. Kemal, could you please go to that hospital and see how well this hospital was improved? I mean, since the municipalities of the Republican People's Party cannot fulfill its duties, our ministries are undertaking their responsibilities, and he is never speaking about it. As you know, the water is brought to the municipalities by its relevant directorate. In Izmir, there was shortage of water, and thanks to the state water administration, we provided their municipalities water, and we did the same thing in one province, by the way. But all the same, I would like to state that we increased the budgets of our municipalities, which has never been seen in the history, because their ultimate target is not to serve the people, and their masks are dropped these days. Vefa Social Support Group, which present the best examples of cooperation between the central government and the local government, was attacked by Republicans People Party and PKK. The Republicans People Party and the PKK are not different from each other. They are keeping a blind eye to the fact that all the assignments are being done through the exam. So we are assigning people to their positions based on their competences and merits. During his term as the head of the social security system, he was assigning those places to his followers. I mean, during their term, for example, the Minister of Justice from the Republican People's Party stated that I'm not going to assign people from the MHP, but CHP, my own party. I mean, the state enterprises, the municipal enterprises, many funds are being inspected by the State Council thanks to the Justice and Development Party in order to find out their corruptions. I mean, he doesn't know what he is saying and what he is expressing. During the term of Justice and Development Party, he is, Mr. Kemal is stating inconsistent sentences, and he doesn't know what exactly judicial independence mean, because what he understands from the independence of the judiciary is that the judges or the prosecutors should be in command of the pro-tutelage front. After the pluralism in the Turkish politics, the CHP lost its effect to a certain extent, but still they are depending and keening on the İş Bankası shares, İş Bank shares. And they are also trying to bring us back to the times in which we were dependent on the IMF. As we came to power, the debt of Turkey to IMF was $23.5 billion. Dear citizens, until the month of May 2013, we paid all those debts and we actually closed this page. And I said to the director of IMF that they cannot define our roles in terms of the politics. And this guy who opened a new political party knows it very well because he was next to me. And I said to the director of IMF that they can only inspect whenever we are going to borrow from them, but they cannot define our duties in terms of the politics. I mean, if that person is honest, he will confirm me, but they cannot say such sentences. They cannot stand against IMF as we did. And still they state and claim that we should we should preserve our good relations with the IMF. They know it very well. IMF asked $5.5 billion from us as borrowing. If you were not strong, the IMF wouldn't have asked for money from us. And what did I tell him? We can give that money to the IMF because if they receive money from us, then they will receive orders and they will listen to our commands in the future. If they are honest, they will admit that we have spoken such issues. Although I said that we will not be going to the IMF again, the confirmation coming from the Republicans and People Party stating that the Turkey should go to the IMF shows us that we did the right decision by not going to. Once again, I would like to remind the Republicans People Party followers that they are pushing in vain, as it was the case in 2007 and 2017. The modernization process took place in Turkey, although the Republicans People Party's politics, because this party doesn't want to democratize Turkey even further. They would like to be in power against the will of our nation. As I don't want to give an answer to his questions in order to not waste your valuable times, I would like to put an end to his claims in here, because what he says shows why the CHP, the Republicans People Party, couldn't prosper Turkey. We only remind our nation, we only remember how unsuccessful they were, because our acquis of service for the last 18 years is only contributing for our further ambitions. As being one, as being brothers, and as being Turkey, and as being Turkey altogether, and as being the People's Alliance, there is no difficulties that we cannot overcome. During our 7th Ordinary Congress period, I hope that this Congress will be contributed by you in order to enable Turkey triumph. Hopefully this year we will have a different 27th of May. Hopefully we will open the democracies and the liberties island in a symbolic theme. We will be able to open this island, inaugurate this island. And I'm sure that this inauguration will drop the mask of the Republicans and People Party. The time that the Republicans People Party is standing for the judicial power, as you remember at that time, executed the publicly voted Prime Minister. But this island has been transformed remarkably, and hopefully on 27th of May we will inaugurate this island, and the island will not be remembered as Yassıada, but this island will be remembered as the island of democracy and liberties. And I also would like to thank the Turkish Chamber, Turkish Union of Chambers, and they were taking the responsibility of contracting company, and we have invested in that island as following the public and private partnership. By taking this opportunity, I would like to congratulate your Eid al-Fitr, which will take place on Sunday. I also pray for God that the Islamic world hopefully will reach to peace, welfare and prosperity. And with those prayers, I also pray for God to save us from this outbreak. And I would like to extend my condolences to the beloved ones of the passed away patients. And I wish that our success will continue to go further. And I pray for God for healing of our patients. Both the hospital, Çam and Sakura Hospital, and Murat Dilmen Emergency State Hospital and Feriha Öz Emergency Hospital will be inaugurated, and Dr. İsmail Niyazi has given its name to another hospital, and the inauguration ceremony of that hospital will be carried out, by the way. And I also would like to remind that this hospital was constructed by Abdülhamid II, the Ottoman Sultan, for our soldiers in the past. With those feelings in my heart, once again, I would like to extend my deepest respect and gratitude to each one of you. May you all stay in health and good shape.